Welcome to Fair and Square. In this weekly show, we meet up with famous personalities. In this week, we meet up with one of the most well-known Air Force officers of post-independence India and the only Marshal of the Air Force, Arjan Singh. He is the most revered Air Force officer of the 1965 war with Pakistan. He wears his 90 years of age with as much ease as his long list of achievements. So welcome to Fair and Square. It is indeed a privilege to have you on the show. Before we talk about your momentous journey in the Air Force and as a diplomat and administrator, can you please tell us about your childhood days in Montgomery and Lailpur, which are now in Pakistan?
Well, of course, our family were farmers. We belonged to a village in Lailpur. I did my schooling in the village itself. Then I did my matriculation in a place called Montgomery. And then I went to a college called Government College Lahore.
You went to college in Lahore and I believe you were a good student. What are the other memories that you have of the college days?
Well, I never really believed that I was a good student, first of all. The thing is that I believe in moderation. And everything must, for example, I took part in sports. In school, I think it was athletics and swimming. In the college, also athletic, but mostly swimming.
But you came from a village background, sir. How did you learn swimming?
That's a very good question. When I went to school, there was a very big canal. The school in Montgomery on the way, and I used to swim in that. So that was, and Government College, of course, had a swimming pool, and I used that. I used to live very near that. It's an old. There was no particular desire, I think. It just happened like that. That I swam in canal and so on, got fond of it. And suddenly somebody discovered that I was good in freestyle. And ultimately, of course, I managed to get to all the records in freestyle. At that time, there were no meters, 1 mile and a half mile. And now, of course, the girls swim faster than I do.
Your grandfather was in the army and your father was an engineer. But how did you opt for the Air Force?
I was fond of looking at airplanes. I only flew one when I got into the Air Force. And that was because in a village where we stayed in Lailpur, there used to be a service from Lahore to Karachi. And I almost flew right over that. And I think that made me very inquisitive. I think that's what happened.
You grew up in what is now erstwhile Pakistan. So did the partition in 1947 come as a rude shock?
I don't know. I was not, I had gotten the Air Force. I got the Air Force in 1938. And after that, I never went to the Punjab, except for a visit, a little day or two. Now, I didn't feel the partition. Our family did to some extent, but not. They came, amazing part, they came back here, still as farmers. And they got a lot of land in Rampur, Bilaspur, and so on, Tarai. Most of my relations are still farmers over there.
Did you ever get to visit Pakistan after partition?
Very, very briefly. I went once there, but what surprised me most was that after Tashkent, the Prime Minister took a decision, as you know, that the commanders should meet. So the army commanders came here. I went to Peshawar. At that time, headquarters of the Pakistan Air Force was Peshawar. And well, first surprise was that Noor Khan, who was actually same seniority as myself almost, either flight lieutenant or squad leader. And he put me up in his own house.
Did you get to visit your farmlands when you went to Pakistan?
No, I went to Lahore. nowhere else. Lahore, I went to the college, and I saw my hostel, and I saw all the facilities and so on.
But did you feel any hostility when you went to Pakistan in 1966? This was immediately after the war.
None whatsoever. See, I think, even now, on personal basis, they are very generous.
So during the war with China in 1962, you were posted in the air headquarters. Did you feel bad that the Air Force was not used in 1962?
No, I felt bad, but I was not in the process of in the decision-making stream, you see. As the Air Force, I tell you what I was AOA, administration. Now, these things are decided by the chief, the vice chief, and deputy chief. Now, I felt very strongly, we were very strong at that time, much better than China. China had no bases whatsoever in Tibet. And we had the advantage. We have very well established bases almost next to Tibet in Assam. Now, there's a difference there. See, the jet aircraft, or even the others, flying from ground level have big advantage. If you take off from Tibet, which is roughly 13 to 14,000 feet, or further on, Sichuan or Xinjiang and so on, then you are at a disadvantage. Now, we were better players. I was convinced personally, because that has been my life, flying. Whether I'm doing a flying job or not, I try to put in some flying.
So you think if the Air Force was used in 62, it could have made all the difference?
I think it would have made a lot of difference. I can't say all the difference, but it would have made a lot of difference. And I think, I have a feeling that Chinese would have just immediately turned back. See, the Chinese are not all that brave, one of the things. Politicians should have the nerve. In wartime, it's the politician who controls decisions. Now, if he doesn't have the nerve and gives it, then of course the commander has to obey.
So talking of the 1965 war, the Pakistan Air Force was trained by Air Marshal Asghar Khan. Air Marshal Noor Khan led the PAF against India. The Indian Air Force was commanded by you. What do you think, how was the performance of the Pakistan Air Force in the 1965 war?
Well, I think that you got to view it, their performance was good. You got to view it as a whole. See, at that time they were fully equipped by America. They had American radar, which is far superior to Russian radar, which we had. They will have better aircraft like Sabres with air-to-air missiles, and those are much better than aircraft without missiles.
Overall, how do you rate our own performance during the 65 war?
We have roughly, I tell you, we assessed afterwards, we had spent only somewhere in 21 days war 8 to 8.5% of the total effort. So we were intact. Pakistan had taken aircraft onto Afghanistan and Iran so that they are not attacked in the air.
During the war, you were not even 50 years old at that time. How did you control the urge not to fly into the enemy territory to strike?
Well, the chief to fly has to get permission from the government, because just in case he shot down over there, the morale of the whole Air Force will go down.
Did you ever have to eject yourself when you were flying?
Never. I never parachuted down. At that time, the only way to survive was parachute down from service aircraft. Now, that service aircraft, there are no ejection seat at that time. Now you press the button and you're out within about a second. I lost it less than a second, in fact. Now, at that time, every time, if you had any trouble, I had none, you had to go on the back and drop down by gravity. Some people used to hit the tail, but that is a different kind of time. Now, it's an aircraft more reliable.
After the war, and especially during your diplomatic assignments, you must have met your counterparts from Pakistan. Did you ever meet them and discuss the war?
Well, you know, amazing, really, our experience was different. Wherever I went as a diplomat, my best friend was the diplomat, the senior diplomat from Pakistan. One of them I won't name, but we were so friends. At that time, India and Pakistan had no relations. We were so friends over there that we used to meet almost every week in a hotel to have a cup of coffee. And I told he probably, I heard later on, he never told his government, but all the staff knew about it. I said, I'm going to so-and-so, Hilton Hotel. We used to always go to the Hilton Hotel to have a cup of coffee. So that sort of attitude, you see. On a personal basis, we went in.
But did you ever discuss the war with Air Marshal Asghar Khan when he met you?
First of all, he gave me a better bedroom in his own house. And then he also took me around. He said, see these trenches and so on, where your bombs, where cannibals were attacking, they were sitting there. Now that's a very friendly sort of chat, you know. Otherwise, well, we never discussed numbers. The claim by the services, particularly Pakistan, is always more.
During the 1965 war and after that, you must have met the then Prime Minister, Mr. Lal Bahadur Shastri, a couple of times. How were your interactions with Mr. Shastri?
Well, I think, first of all, Shastri and I, he was very good to me. We were very friendly. And we lived in Delhi, about 100 yards away. So he used to call me up many times about him, 9:30, 10 o'clock, discussing. No, he was, he listened to you in a very friendly sort of way. And if he had anything, he said, otherwise he sort of left it to you. You know.
And what was your experience in your dealings with the then Defence Minister, Mr. Y.B. Chavan?
Oh, they're excellent, excellent. He was, I would say, as I said, he was very decisive. He never took very long. I think within 5 minutes we discussed it. And as he said, no, I said, go ahead.
But could you not persuade him not to go in for ceasefire when it came?
No, that is a political question. See, that he was, I don't know what he thought about it. But one thing I'm certain, that left to him, he wouldn't have agreed to a ceasefire.
You must have later dealt with Mrs. Indira Gandhi, with Mr. V.P. Singh and Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. What kind of interactions did you have with them?
Well, no, I didn't deal with Rajiv Gandhi, or not with I dealt only with Indira Gandhi. Now, he was defense minister some time, and that's when otherwise I had no. I mean, he was very interested kind of thing. I mean, he said, show me your stations, Air Force stations. So we went along. I was flying and she was in the second pilot seat. And I took her over Harawara and Adhampur or something. And I said, I'll do 4 chakkars here. You just tell me honestly how many aircraft you've seen. And when he landed, he said, I didn't see any aircraft, but I know where they were. You see, because after a lot of forest over there, he said, I knew, but I didn't see it. So that was the state of preparation.
This is Mrs. Gandhi.
Yes. She flew in the second pilot seat with me. I think I was flying Avro or something.
So you literally took her for a ride in the air?
No, even on the ground, nobody could take her on the ride. She was one person. I think as now people are realizing, she was really the best Prime Minister so far.